It is the year 2000. The world recovers, having not come to an end as a result of the Millennium Bug. Coldplay prepare to release their first record. Cinema goers are treated to what would become some of the best movies of all time. American Psycho, Requiem for a Dream, Snatch, Gladiator, Dude, Where's My Car? That's what I said when I left the cinema after watching all those great movies, except I didn't because I was only 3 years old. Then, something incredible happened. It was the release of the PlayStation 2. The PS2 was first released in Europe on November 24th, 2000, and was met with great praise immediately. It is often regarded as the best console ever made, and as such it is the highest selling console of all time, with more than 155 million units sold as of March 2012. That's when Sony basically stopped counting. Over its 12-year lifespan, more than 10,000 games were released, selling around 1.5 billion copies. Now, that's a lot of games, and we don't really have that much time. So how about I just talk about some that I enjoy and call it some PS2 games I really like in no particular order. Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man was released in 2005 and was developed by Treyarch, who have gone on to develop some of the most popular titles in the Call of Duty series.
So why is this game in your top 10?
I genuinely think, people always say Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man game, but I think that they're wrong. Because I don't think that the web sling, I genuinely do think this is the best web sling in any Spider-Man game. Maybe it doesn't flow as well as the newest one, but I think the fact that it actually does, you need to be around
most
buildings.
like true to life.
The game lets you play as both Spider-Man and Venom, as they both try to uncover the secrets behind the creation of the Venom symbiote and the death of both characters' fathers. What was Wolverine even doing here?
Just having a drink in a bar.
Yeah. That was my bag, you just trashed, Bob. Well, now you are. That's the hole we just came through, but there's no building through there anymore. Good old PS2. And that's Jenga. I'm about to punch him in the head, ready?
Oof.
Yeah.
Broken nose. But
Broken neck.
he'll heal.
Yeah. He'll be like, God's sake, I just wanted to have a drink. Now I'm playing as boring old Spider-Man again. Despite being met with pretty good reviews, this game is very underrated in my opinion, as most people think 2004's Spider-Man 2 is the only Spidey game on PS2 that's worth playing. They're wrong.
Glub. Did I just say glub?
Flat Out 2. Another game I don't hear people talk about enough is Flat Out 2, which came out in 2006. It is basically a game about driving fast cars, crashing into pretty much everything available and hoping you still come out on top. I will say that the driving itself wasn't the best, but the many ways in which you could destroy yours and everyone else's vehicle was second to none at the time. But the real USP here was the stunt minigames. If you've never played this before, I had too much fun playing it as a child to not recommend it to you, so play it. Downhill Domination. 2004's Downhill Domination may well be the best game that's main focus is bikes. It's a game where you ride down the most terrifyingly dangerous mountain routes you have ever seen, racing against several other riders whilst busting out quadruple backflips and punching competitors in the face. It was the early 2000s. It had to be extreme.
Great job, first place.
SpongeBob the movie, the game.
Let's get it on.
Before I say anything about this game, the first time I played it was this year, and it has still managed to make it onto my top PS2 game list. Take from that what you will. SpongeBob the movie the game came out in 2005, and more or less follows the story of SpongeBob the movie. It is a platforming adventure game where you can play as both SpongeBob and Patrick as they embark on a journey to prove their manliness and retrieve King Neptune's crown. All of the main characters are voiced by the actors from the movie, which really makes for a better game. All that is, except for one Alec Baldwin, who voiced the killer for hire Dennis. He must have been busy that day. It's not completely true to the movie though. A lot of the levels I just sort of put in because, you know, there needs to be a game.
Yeah.
You can't just sort of play them walking from place to place. I feel like a lot of the bits in the movies, it's not really like a game level.
No.
So for the first Dennis boss fight, instead of just having them talk to him for a bit and then him stood on by a big boot, as you can see there, he's using SpongeBob as like a tennis racket to hit toilets at me that blow up into green goo. So, well, it's jumping from pedestal to pedestal. So I have to pick up these watermelons and hit them back at him. You know, just like in the movie.
My favourite part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Finally.
Simpsons Road Rage. The Simpsons Road Rage was released in 2001 and was the first Simpsons game released on the PS2. It's just a rip-off of 1999's Crazy Taxi with The Simpsons pasted over it. Primarily, the game tasks you with driving different characters from one place to another in the quickest time. You know, like a taxi. But there are also 10 story missions where you have to destroy a certain amount of something or other in a certain amount of time. They're boring as hell, but the main game is great.
You're faster than a sloop in a stiff game.
What about the voice lines in this game?
The voice lines in this game, some of them are quite good, but they're funny, but not because of the things that they say, more of like when they say them.
Yeah.
Bart will be like, no, I didn't go to school today, can you take me to the power plant or something? And then Homer will just say something really stupid that has absolutely nothing to do with what they were saying. He'll just say like a generic one like, don't sit on my nachos.
Yeah.
Just for no reason. It's just the fact that he just comes out with that. It just makes me laugh. So I'd probably say that's a minus on the voice lines.
Yeah.
But
it's entertaining.
Because I find stupid stuff like that funny, it's a plus for me. Road Rage followed the shockingly bad Simpsons Wrestling and was itself followed by the shockingly bad Simpsons Skateboarding in 2002. But that shockingly bad game was followed by a game that is not shockingly bad at all. I speak of course of Simpsons Hit and Run. 2003 saw the release of what is undoubtedly the best Simpsons related video game of all time, The Simpsons Hit and Run. On the surface, it's just another Simpsons rip-off game like Road Rage. But while it is similar to the likes of Grand Theft Auto, it is also a very good game in its own right and deserves to be remembered as such. Due to the similar playstyle, however, it served as a lot of children's, including my, replacement for Grand Theft Auto, but for me, it was also my favourite game. I played this game so much that for some reason I felt the need to do everything in this game. So I did.
Yeah.
On my PS2 memory card, there's a save that says Simpsons Hit and Run 100%. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, that's
It
impressive.
took a while. I'll forever hold that dear because I loved this game, as I think many people did.
Yeah, this is one that, even though I didn't have friends that played, like, were particularly into video games, I still heard it being talked about a lot because people who weren't big gamers still played this game.
GTA San Andreas. In 2004, Rockstar North released one of the best games ever made, GTA San Andreas. In short, the game sees you play as Carl C.J. Johnson, a former gangster who returns home after hearing that his mother is dead, only to be sucked into the world that he tried to leave behind. It's also basically a giant playground for you to do whatever you want. I feel like a lot of me as a person is because of this game. That's not to say that I'm a serial killer maniac who goes around just disobeying every law and doing lots of things that people shouldn't do. I mean, like, I think a lot of the music I listen to spawns from certainly, maybe not this specific game, but certainly the GTA games in general. But this is the first proper one that I played, or first proper one that I really liked. Like, I played Vice City a lot around my friend's house again. But I always thought that Vice City was too small. Like, there wasn't enough room to like drive. You can't just drive around for hours in Vice City because it's such like a small map.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, like, I think there's a motorway that just goes around the whole map, which is great. If you just do a cheap or really fast car and then just do that, that was like all I wanted to do back in the day. But also, it was great for if you were bored, just, you know, killing a bunch of people in a video game. Piglets Big Game. Like I said, no particular order.
Piglets Big Game was my go-to childhood PlayStation 2 game. I didn't have many games. Had limited screen time when I was younger, but this was normally the one that I would pick because I just loved it so much. It's kind of cool too because as a kid, like, well, so you have to solve things to get to the next area, but obviously because you're a child they try and make it somewhat easy for you, so they put like the little pink circles around it. But because there's pink circles around lots of things and you're a kid, you're like, oh, pink circles, you still have to like figure out what you're doing.
There are a lot of pink circles.
Yeah, so this is what used to scare me. So you have to, I can't remember what you have to do. I think you have to wait until he's,
I think you need to get him to run into
things. I just remembered what you have to do. So you have to try and be like quite a few spaces away from him so that you have more time to press the buttons, and then you pull a face and scare him, and you get...
That's pretty cool, I like that.
And then you can open the door.
Yeah.
So you have to hope that when he runs after you and you press X, you have enough squares to be able to...
This actually seems like a really fun game, and I want to play more of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. I can't remember if I already said this on camera, if I just said this to you earlier. I was going to say it a second ago, but I don't think I did. But I used to literally just play this... Oh, I need that candle. I just used to play this game and finish it and then just put it straight back in and play it again. Which may also partially be because I didn't have loads of games. But I never felt like, oh, I have to play the same game again. I always used to really enjoy it.
That's good. And that's why it's on... That's why it's your favourite PS2 game. Lego Star Wars. When I was 7 years old, I had three favourite things: Star Wars, The Simpsons, and Lego. So naturally, in 2005, when Lego Star Wars was released on PlayStation 2, I was heartily disappointed Homer Simpson didn't make an appearance. I am, of course, joking. This game was and is an incredibly good time. The game is an action-adventure title where you play through the events of the prequel trilogy as all of your favourite characters, in Lego form of course. I think the story of me getting this game is probably the most interesting out of all the games on this list. PlayStation they used to do a thing where they would release like special versions of a game, like platinum games.
Yeah.
And this was one. And when our first PS2 was sort of on its last legs, the first type of discs that it stopped being able to read were platinum game discs.
Oh no.
So I bought this game probably from Woolworths and brought it home and it didn't work. So then I bought it from somewhere else, brought it home and it didn't work. But then our PS2 completely broke fun fact of the day, the last discs that our first PS2 wanted to let us use were the Lord of the Rings movies. For some reason, none of the other discs that we owned worked with it, apart from the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, which I always think is really funny. But yeah, and then we got a new PS2 because our one broke, and then this game worked fine, and this is another game that I loved so much that I 100%ed it.
Yeah, well, I feel like you got to with Lego games in general.
Star Wars Battlefront 2. In 2005, my favourite game was released. 15 years later, it remains my favourite game. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a third-person shooter game where you play as one of the clone troopers of the 501st Battalion and experience the effects of Order 66 through their eyes. This is very cool. However, there is another Risk-like game mode where you play as either the Republic or the Separatists and try, through land or space battles, to conquer every planet in the galaxy. This is also very cool. But the coolest thing of all was the instant action mode.
I've got a blaster with your name on it.
This let you create a playlist of various match scenarios using a large selection of planets from the movies for both ground assaults and dogfights in space. It came out at just such a perfect time, like the Star Wars Episode 3 had just come out, or was just about to come out, and they released this game where you can play as pretty much all of your favourite characters as long as they're somewhat main character, and it's just such a good idea. Somebody was like, let's make a game where it's like Call of Duty, but instead of playing as boring soldiers, you play as really cool people from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like,
Who wouldn't love that?
yeah. What the 7-year-old boy wouldn't love that? And also, this is the best. What I'm playing right now is the best game mode, where you just play as all of the good guys versus all of the bad guys. I don't know, this is just like a Star Wars nerd's wet dream, this game. And they've never made a Star Wars game as good as this.